There we go. Now we're in good shape. So sacrament starts, the confession starts March 11th at 11 a.m. Sacrament retreat beforehand so that kids are prepared and ready to go. Parents, you are welcome to, if you feel you need to, your kids would like you to, or you wish to be involved, you can walk around with your kids through that retreat, or you can drop them off, go get a cup of coffee, and come back. We do encourage you to come back for first penance, of course, and we're going to have other priests available. We encourage you to go to confession that day as well, to be supportive and be a part of your child's experience. More on that in a few minutes here. Then First Holy Communion. The paper says April 12th, but the paper is wrong. It's actually April 16th at 2 p.m. It's a Sunday Mass, and it will be live streamed. And that is in the third box down on the little paper there. There's, excuse me, there's a scan code there for seating. We're going to cover that momentarily, by April 16th, 2 p.m. All right, dress code. On the right-hand side of your paper, second box down is dress code. So, girls, a white dress. You can have a veil or flowers, etc. Those are optional. Please do not wear gloves. Please do wear dress shoes. Boys, dress slacks, shirt and tie, any color. Dress shoes, not sneakers, and suit jackets preferred but not required, because we understand how that works. And so I think that's pretty standard across the board in terms of what to expect for dress code. And pictures. So on the left-hand side of the paper, the fourth box down at the bottom, photographer. We'll have a photographer. She will be taking pictures of your children receiving First Communion. The main reason behind this is that way you don't have to take pictures of your children receiving First Communion. We can do it for you. We can make a wonderful picture of it. It's going to be phenomenal. It's going to look great. They've always come out wonderful. We will give you a copy of your child, a picture of your child receiving First Communion for the first time. And that way you can be present for the Mass, present for their reception, present for all of the sacrament, present for all those types of things. And it also keep some reverence to the Mass as opposed to, because I know, I get it, we would all want to be out there taking pictures and everything if we allow it. So for the sake of reverence for the Mass, reverence for the sacrament, we provide a photographer so that you can enjoy the Mass and be a part of that, and we will give you a picture. Other shots will be available. You can certainly have other shots and order those from her if you wish. She will have those available, and we'll have that more on that soon. All right, so seating. So like I said, on the third box there in the First Communion, there's a scan code for seating. So here's the cool thing about seating. There is plenty of room in the church for you, your family, and anyone you want to bring along. If you are driving towards First Communion and you happen to see a hitchhiker on the road and you want to bring him to First Communion, there's room for him. I wouldn't necessarily suggest that. Not the best suggestion in the world, but what I'm saying is there's plenty of room. That being said, when it comes to who gets to sit with your child, that's what we're taking seating reservations for. Because obviously we have a pew reserved for all the kids, and we have a pew reserved for family of the children. And by family of the children, we mean immediate family, like people who live in your home with your child. So if grandma lives in your home with you every single day, she counts in that list. If she does not count in that list. And the reason for that line is this: the pews of the church are not equal. Not every pew holds the same amount of people. So if we limit reservations to the number of people who are living in your home, that gives us the freedom to be able to play musical first communicants, so we can figure out the best way to put you all in the pews. Now that being said, everyone else you bring, there's plenty of room for them in the church. They will have a seat in the church. In terms of people who actually have a pew reserved with your child, we're looking for just the people who live in the house with your child. Does that make sense to everybody? Yes. Bring everybody you want. The pew reservation is just for the people in your home, so we can figure out how to best seat everybody who needs to sit with their children. All right. And feel free to send emails or phone calls if you look at this later and get confused and aren't sure anymore. By all means, please give us a call. We'll help explain it again. Then let's dive into. Do I need to do noticed a retreat flyer. Yeah, we kind of covered that. So, retreat flyer, good. All right, let's talk about preparation for the sacrament. So, educationally, informationally, if you are a school family, that preparation is being done in your child's religion class. If you are a family of faith family, then that's being done by your activities at home. So education. Now for everybody, school and parish, we included page 175 from the Family of Faith book for you, which is a nice little lesson about how to go to confession. And it just sort of lays out a general idea about going to confession. It encourages you to do things like role-playing it and practicing it and explaining different parts. It's a really wonderful tool for learning confession. So again, if you're a Family of Faith family, this is in your book, but we gave you a copy of it to make it simple. If you're a school family, we gave you a copy of this for you to refer to if you would wish to use one. Spiritual preparation. Spiritual preparation. So one of the requirements for a child to be considered ready to receive the sacrament is that they have some understanding of the sacrament and a desire for it. Now, that's a twofold thing. And this is fairly easy to instill in a child. You do this all the time as a parent. You instill desire for things in your child for all sorts of stuff. A very, very simple base example. If you clean your room, I will give you a cookie. You have instilled a desire in your child to clean your room. You know? Now, we're going to go a little bit deeper with that. Here are the things that I recommend to help you spiritually prepare your children for the sacrament. So, confession. One, use those pages that we provided. Like role-playing confession, if your child is nervous at all about confession, about like what to do, how to say, what's next, role-playing is the best thing you can possibly do. Especially if you have older kids who went through this earlier and now they're regular confessees, like having them play in that part, wonderful thing to do. They can you be the priest, have them come in, the older child, and then demonstrate first, and then your youngest one who's going to be receiving confession, have them come in next, and just talk through each step. It's a safe environment where they can make mistakes if they need to, they can see how to do it, they can sort of like tangibly be involved with it, and you create, again, a safe environment for them to practice and learn and be like, oh, I can do this, I can figure this out. You know, my sibling figured this out, if you have one, figure this out, I can figure it out too. So role playing. Another thing, this is a really simple thing, so on your sacraments at John Newman paper again, the top right-hand corner is a copy of the Act of Contrition. This is the easiest thing you can possibly do. Starting tonight, every night, before you go to bed, sit down, and you as a family, recite the Act of Contrition. Easiest way for your child to learn it and get comfortable with it. It'll take you, I'm going to guess that's a 20-second prayer, roughly. 20 seconds to help your child learn the Act of Contrition every night between now and first confession. Maybe you miss a night here or there because of whatever, you know, if you're out late tonight because of the Super Bowl, awesome, but like, you missed a night. But like in general, as much as you can, every night, pray the Act of Contrition together. And then, let's see here. Having a conversation with your child about how you feel and your experience with confession can go a long ways to demystify the sacrament. Because as a second grader, as a little second grader, what you're seeing is, okay, there's confession, I have sinned, I'm going to go in that weird room with Father, tell him things I did wrong, and then God's going to forgive me. Like, and intellectually you get that, but there's a lot of mystery around that. Like, well, what exactly happens in the small room? What's Father doing while I'm doing all this? How does this all work? So like, hearing your stories, even if it's been a long time since the last time you went to confession, even if it's been a long time since that, some story about your experience. Okay. I'm going to try and talk loud. Some story about your experience with confession can go a long way to demystify the whole thing. And it's going to do wonders if you can do that. Can you guys hear me back there okay? All right, excellent, wonderful. I will try and keep this level of volume up. So again, at contrition every night, role-playing confession, talking about your experience with confession, what you like about it, what you do in there, those types of things. Wonderful ways to prepare spiritually for confession. Eucharist. The number one best teaching tool for how to receive the Eucharist is the Mass. There is no better teaching tool for how to receive the Eucharist than going to Mass and your child seeing all the however many hundreds of people are there each week, going up and demonstrating how to receive communion over and over and over and over again. There is no better teaching tool than your child seeing you walk up and demonstrate how to receive communion every week between now and First Communion. It is the singularly best teaching tool there is for being prepared about how to receive Holy Communion. I was doing some practice with my second grader who's getting ready for First Communion. We were doing some practice of communion because I was pretty sure he knew what he was doing from being at Mass, but we were just double checking, and he came up and he did it right. I had his older brother come along too. His 5-year-old brother came up and did the same thing, and he had it 95% down. We haven't talked to him about it, we just take him to church every week. That's the big thing he has going for him. It is the church, the number one best teaching tool there possibly is. There is no better tool I can give you than going to Mass to prepare your kids for how to learn how to receive communion. That being said, other things you can do. Like I just sort of implied, practice at home. Like whatever your child likes, get some Cheez-Its or something that looks sort of like a host and practice communion. Now, be very clear with your child, this is not Jesus. This is not Jesus. This is a Cheez-It, not Jesus. Be very, very clear about that. But that we're going to use these Cheez-Its to learn how to receive communion. Oh my goodness. Well, and then if you use something like, I don't know, like a Kit Kat or something, or a snack size Snickers or something, I mean, they're probably want to play communion every day. But like, whatever works for you, this is not Jesus, but we're going to use it to learn how to receive communion and go through the parts. Hey, you did really well there. You just missed blessing yourself at the end. Let's do it again. I guess you have to eat another Cheez-It, And again, this is something your whole family can be involved in. It doesn't matter. Older kids, younger kids, they are sacramental kids, whatever age they are, having them all involved is a phenomenal thing. And the other thing is too, don't be afraid when you're role-playing confession and communion, don't be afraid to let your child switch roles. Let them take on the role of priest and distribute communion, or be the person hearing confession so they can see what it's going to look like when they're in the chair. They can see the other side of the sacrament, so to speak. That helps too. The big thing here, the big idea behind all this is First Confession and First Communion should not be about your child. Sounds weird, but it shouldn't be about your child and, oh, this is the first time you're doing this, is so fun. Like, it is phenomenal to doing this, don't get me wrong, it's wonderful to doing this. But it shouldn't be just about this. It should be about, this is the first time you get to do this sacrament with us, your family. Think about the first time you took your child or children to like a family traditional event. Like the first time you took them to a Christmas party. Now, not like when they were an infant, they didn't even know it happened, but like the first time that they took them to a Christmas party and they knew what was happening. Something you've been going to for years as part of your family. Now you got to take your child to it. And you could see the joy and excitement as they did whatever it is you guys do at your Christmas parties every year. And then the joy you felt at the fact that next year they were so excited to go to that party because you shared that with them. And you get to go to that party together now. That's what the sacraments are about. It's about, this is the first time you get to do this with us, your family. And this is the first time we're going to celebrate this together. This is why at First Penance we have the option for you to receive confession. This is the first time you get to go to confession together as a family with your child. This is why, of course, we want you all to receive communion at church, at First Communion, because it's the first time you get to receive Jesus together. This is how we build Catholic culture in our home. When we realize that we're drawing ourselves deeper together as a family in God, in Christ. That's what it's about. It's about joining. Now maybe you're in the position you're like, okay, Nate, that sounds beautiful. That's a beautiful picture. But guess what? I hate to tell you this, but I'm not the best Catholic. I haven't been doing all the things I'm supposed to be doing. So it wouldn't necessarily be the first time they do this with us together. No problem. Now you get to celebrate. This is the first time you do this together. What I mean by that is, think about this example. Maybe the first time you guys went to an amusement park and you went on a ride together you had never been on. They had never either. I don't know, take whatever ride it may be, whatever park it may be. Your child said, I want to go on that. You said, I don't know what it's like. Well, let's go on it. Okay, you discovered it together. You experienced it together for the first time. Maybe it was good, maybe it was bad, but you experienced it together. That's what you're doing in this sacrament if it's been a while. Is you're going to get to experience this together for the first time. That's what, it's like faith formation people, that's what our goal is for us and for you, is that by the time you finish with this sacrament, you are a closer family, you're a stronger family, you're a more Catholic family, and you're closer united together in your faith. That's what we want for you. So I hope that you can sort of see how all those pieces fit together. Role play, practice, talk about your experience with it, take them to Mass, go to Mass together, all these things. So that's the highs and the lows. I can take questions if you have any questions. Go for it.
Dressing for girls
no, you don't need a white dress for confession. You can be a bit, think like a regular Sunday church kind of a thing for confession. Or, is the retreat messy? No, okay, yeah. So regular Sunday clothes for first confession.
Is it going to be Father Norbert and Father Powell, and that's it?
For confession?
Yeah.
So it's going to be Father Norbert, Father Powell. We're aiming to have one, maybe two other priests there to help with adult confessions. I believe what we're slotted for right now is the kids will all go to Father Dan and Father Norbert and Father Dan, and the adults will all go to the other two guys to be determined.
Okay.
Of course, now the air conditioning stopped, so I wouldn't have to yell as loud. Any other questions?
From what you've seen in the past, about how long is the day on First Communion, post-receiving communion? Like, how long does it usually end up being? In case you wanted to plan something afterwards in our house, like the Belgian itself gets fit.
Mass itself is still about an hour. And then afterwards, that's really, like, some people might have picture slots after communion set, but those also usually move pretty quickly. I think she sets them in like 5 or 10 minute increments, so they're not very long increments. So even if you have the third slot after communion, you're looking at about half an hour later, and she's usually a little quicker than what she sets. And beyond that, whatever works for you. Some families like to stay and take pictures of the altar and stuff and things like that. If that's not you, that's cool. All right. Well then, go for it.
Is confession optional or is it face-to-face for the littles?
Oh, you mean can they go face-to-face or be?
Yeah.
Okay, so legality, in terms of church law and everything, they have the option to go either way. Father Dan prefers they go face-to-face because there's a hearing issue. He can understand them better if he can see their lips. But in legality-wise, they can go whichever way they want. Oh, yes, okay. So then we're going to close with prayer if there's no other questions in a moment here, but on your way out, we have a gift for you all. It's a little book. You got one of these books earlier. Yes, that's okay, good point. So if you are a family of faith family, we have a book for you. It's the sequel to the book you got around Christmas about the convent and everything. They have another one, and so please do take a copy of that on your way out. One last time, any final questions? All right, so then if you do have other questions, you can call, you can email, we're here for you. Thanks for being here today.